Welcome to Arts Roll Call, a podcast showcasing artists and arts organizations highlighting the role of the arts today in Greater Lansing. I'm Robin Miner Swartz. I'm an editor, communications consultant, and a lifelong arts advocate. And today I'm talking with Theresa Rosado. Theresa is a graduate of Michigan State University with a degree focused in pre-Columbian and Mesoamerican culture and Chicanx and Latinx art history. She has exhibited at universities and galleries throughout the Midwest for over 30 years. Theresa's work is featured in the art history book Latin American Women Artists of the United States. Her art features imagery from her Taino, African, and European ancestral experiences and mixes them with contemporary gendered and class struggle imagery, exploring the intersectionalities such as nature, faith, and the subtleties of power and empowerment. Theresa founded the nonprofit Casa de Rosado Galleria and Cultural Center in 2016 as a way of offering Central Michigan Latino Club activities like those she coordinated with the Lansing School District beginning in the early 1990s. Casa de Rosado is the only Hispanic cultural center serving Central Michigan, and it hosts one of the largest Dia de los Muertos celebrations in Michigan, as well as numerous cultural workshops. Theresa secures grants and scholarships for the center, which provides thousands of students with free in-class cultural arts programming. Theresa, welcome to Arts Roll Call.
Thank you, Robin. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so glad to have you. Let's start at the very beginning. When did you first start making art?
Well, as a child of the 60s and 70s, of course, I couldn't help be influenced by things such as comic books and cartoons that were popular then, album covers. Everybody aspired to be an album cover designer when I was taking art classes in high school. But of course, children's book illustrations, all these types of things. Reading was really big when I was young. And all of these things had a big influence when I was younger. And I was raised in North Dakota, part of my life. So we didn't have galleries and museums out there. I think the nearest one was probably in Fargo. We were probably about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from Fargo. But my father worked in the airline industry as a mechanic. So we were moving around throughout the Midwest from place to place for about 16 times, 16 different places when I was growing up. So, no, I didn't see my culture or myself reflected often in the items that I had available. In the classroom, no, nobody ever spoke about Puerto Rican heritage or Taino culture. It really wasn't until I was in college where I was finally able to read some history about Puerto Rico and learn about my people.
Hmm. Is it at that point that cultural storytelling and your ancestry got intertwined into the work you were doing?
Yes, yeah, in college, a lot of professors noticed I would doodle a lot on my. I loved English, of course, and writing, and that's really where I aspired to gravitate to. But they noticed my illustrations, and one of them actually used some of them for a doctoral thesis that they were writing because I was making cartoons about things like T.S. Eliot, different types of illustrations. So I had a lot of fun with it, and they encouraged me to express my heritage, my culture, and including my gender. To express what it is being a woman. So, of course, every every Latina has a strong abuela, a grandmother that's really central. And yes, a lot of my work and aspirations in expressing my culture is related, of course, to her, my grandmother, Carmen.
Is she still living?
No, no. She would probably be almost 100 if she was alive now. But yeah, no, she isn't.
Did you have representations of her in your work?
I do. There are a few paintings where, let's see. In fact, I think it's one of them. No, two of them actually that I can think of that are listed in the art history book that I'm featured in. There's some beautiful colored plates. Oh, actually, there's three. Prayer of a sun woman. There's a woman that is sitting in a chair, but she's has a sunflower head. And so I mix a lot of imagery And sometimes she's featured as a ghost in the painting. You'll see a real faint silhouette in the background. But yes, I do recognize our ancestors a lot in artwork.
That's beautiful. You have a long history of exhibiting your work, but recently you've been involved in multiple projects that have been public art projects around Lansing, including Lansing Board of Water and Lights Art Moves project in Reotown and the Lansing Letters project. What was it like participating in those projects that were a different scope?
They've been really great opportunities. I am a working artist full time,
Mhm.
and I always have to be adaptive and aware of opportunities and willing to go where the opportunities go. So yes, mural making and commercial work. I'm always looking for work, and so not all the time it allows me to express my culture and my heritage, but
Mhm.
when I have the opportunity, I love to do it, and these opportunities allow me to do so. So I'm very appreciative of the Arts Council's sponsorship of these opportunities.
Had you done murals prior to this?
Yes, I have painted a number of cultural murals. I did mostly commissions. I did a Zuni mural for a family. That was a lot of fun to design and work in. And also, of course, Viva Mexico.
Mhm.
That was one sponsored by Teachers Discovery. And it really examines all the cultural traditions. There's 32 states in Mexico, and each one has a different song and a different dance that's
Mhm.
unique to each state in Mexico. And I also tied it with the flora and fauna of each particular region. So
Oh,
it,
nice.
it was took me a summer to do, but it was a lot of fun.
I bet. Well, you mentioned the Arts Council. I know last fall you received the Artists in the Community grant from the Arts Council. What can you tell us about that project that you're working on with those funds?
Well, I requested funds for, of course, a mural for Casa de Rosado Galleria and Cultural Center. No Hispanic Cultural Center is, I say, official until it has its mural. And we've been developing for a long time what we call an ancestors garden. It's the Xochitl Conoco Ancestors Garden. And it's a combination, the words Xochitl, it's a Aztec word meaning flower, and Kunoko is a Taino word that describes garden, but it's angiosperms, which are flowering plants. There are even vegetables. There's all kinds of vegetables that flower too. So this garden that we've been developing and sharing with the public is a teaching garden, and it's a garden of the Americas and of specific plants throughout either North America, South America, or Central America, and the Caribbean. So plants that were culturally significant and far as like food preparation, or even in symbolism such as beadwork or design work or pottery. So this is going to be a fun mural project that will really look into a lot of different plants. I mean, of course, my favorite region is the Caribbean and Mexico. But right now we're working on our northern mural, and that features, of course, manumen, the wild rice that we have here. That's just unique to our northern hemisphere, as well as maple trees. They're deciduous trees and play a significant role in culture and heritage up here, as well as we also have some non-food plants such as milkweed, and that plays an important role in, of course, in the migration of
Mhm.
the monarch butterfly, which is an endangered um, species now. So I believe this mural will play a significant role in educating people. We're visiting 12, we're doing at least 12 workshops. We host at our galleria on Sundays workshops to work on the mural. They're designed to be tabletop style so that people can come and work on them and stay warm. And I'm an aging artist, so having any type of warm space and nothing on a ladder
Right.
is growing to be more and more important the more I age. Supposedly, I'm not supposed to go on ladders anymore, but I'm like, well, if you got to do it, you got to do it. But no, we're having a lot of fun with this project, and we'll be. I was supposed to visit Everett last week, but we had a snowstorm, so we're rescheduled again for that. But they have a great Latino club at Everett, and have been hosting Latino club sessions for many decades, and yes, a lot of these projects that we have started are really rooted in that.
Well, so I mentioned in the intro that you were doing work with the Lansing School District in the 90s. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it led you to create Casa de Rosada?
Well, Casa de Rosado Galleria and Cultural Center was really founded, of course, upon those Latino club principles. I graduated from MSU in 1993, and I was wondering, what do I do with an anthropology degree? And being an artist, what do I do? People are like, well, the job prospects don't look so good for you. But I'm like, I'm a person that makes things happen. I think if you believe in yourself and really consider all of your talents and skills, you can make things happen. But I worked as an assistant librarian at the South Lansing Library at the time, and I began to collaborate with Patricia Briones. She was of the Lansing School District. She mentored a lot of people in the district, and also Rosa Lopez Killips, Robert Killips' wife. Unfortunately, she passed away, but they hosted these Latino club sessions and frequently invited me because I am an artist and I usually got some activity up my sleeve that students could do. So papel picado, that beautiful cut paper you see in Mexico, that was one of a typical session that I would host. Sugar skulls, which we still continue today in the Lansing School District. Last year, I think it was 1,500 students we held sessions for. It was like over 40 classrooms we visited just during Hispanic Heritage Month. So we get a bunch of volunteers to hand mold the sugar skulls, and then I bring them out and they decorate them and learn about Aztec culture while they're designing it. But I would say Rosa Lopez, Patricia Briones, we just began to collaborate on these activities, and not only in the classrooms, but at the library. We wanted to increase our Hispanic patron base, and we hosted our first Dia de los Muertos evening at the South Lansing Library. So it was a beautiful way to mix culture and traditions and really engage not only our community, but really begin to educate the larger community. When we first began celebrating Dia de los Muertos, we had some people say we were practicing Satan worship and all this. I'm like, no, that couldn't be further from the truth. So,
Right.
since Coco has come out, there is less. We hear a lot less of that. It's people do understand it to be a beautiful tradition in
Mhm.
remembering our ancestors, and it's a nice way of like putting all those photos of those loved ones that you lost and um, put them on a table and just really remember them with some memorabilia and some other specific cultural traditions that we do from year to year. But
Did you ever imagine that you would be doing this kind of work when you just started drawing on in the margins of your papers in school?
no, I think, yeah, they would ask what you'd like to do. And it flipped between astronaut and truck driver. I think there was this show called BJ and the Bear
Yep.
where I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to drive around and have a monkey in your in your truck. But we grow up, so the truck thing went away. The science part, though, I stuck with. I mean, arts and
Mhm,
science to me are just dovetailed. They're really related to each other, and
mhm.
I am definitely informed a lot by the sciences, my art is enriched through the sciences. So.
Mhm. Well, can you talk about what kind of work you're doing now at the Galleria and Cultural Center?
Well, right now, in fact, this weekend, not only do we have our mural making session, which we have also a Mexican embroidery workshop that has been one of our, besides the sugar skull workshops, that has been our most popular session. So I love different types of mediums and working with different styles of mediums. And embroidery is one of those, fabric arts that I really like.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of beautiful design work from Oaxaca and the otomi type style work. There's a rich cultural tradition of embroidery in Mexico, and it's so vibrant and so beautiful. And it's been a lot of fun to host. But in addition to that, jelly print workshops. When the weather starts warming up, we'll be out in the courtyard doing more things. But we also make those giant paper mache calaveras, and
Mhm.
all of our sessions are usually free, open to the public. Everybody's invited. There are drop-in sessions. The embroidery sessions you do have to register for because we have limited table space, and it works better to have a more structured session, but it is free. Um, but the painting sessions, the mural making sessions will be a drop-in this weekend. But
So, what are your hopes for Casa de Rosado going forward?
right now we're kind of facing some challenges. A lot of the grants we apply for are based upon diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as culture. And all of these things have been cut by the current administration. We've watched numerous grants just fall off the table. And
Mhm.
part of us is like, wow, we didn't see that coming. But we are fighting it with love, I would say. Right now, we're requesting from the community what we call letters of love. And anybody that has taken a course or attended one of our Dia de los Muertos event, we encourage them to really send us a note or a letter of what you liked about it, what you appreciated about it. And we're going to include them in packets. We get requests from all over central Michigan for our
Mhm.
services. Waverly High School wanted us to come out and lead some workshops. Stockbridge, the city of Stockbridge invited us to come out. We've also had people in St. John's ask us to do it, but we can't do this when we don't have the funds, when we don't have
Right.
transportation money, money so that I can take off work.
Mhm.
Essentially, we don't have those funds to do that, so it's created a bit of a problem in funding. But we do hope to find sponsorships, as well as hopefully people will be sensitive that this problem exists, and people that are in charge of grants will be like, oh yeah, this is a problem. We frequently apply through the Midwest Arts. I can't remember the name fund. They're out of Minneapolis, but they tend to focus on cultural grants. And I know they're just devastated that they've had to cut all of these really
Mhm.
special grants that are really focused on culture. So it's not just us that are going to be impacted by this. I know that the Smithsonian Institute, the Latino wing, had their funding entirely cut too. So it's hitting on a national level. It's not
Mhm.
unique to us, and I think it's very unfortunate.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, many of your recent projects have had connections to the Arts Council, especially in an environment like you're describing right now. Can you talk about the importance of a relationship like that for you as an independent artist?
It's important because we need these opportunities. I think my favorite thing are to create is paintings. Of course, I consider myself a painter. Although I'm a commercial artist too. I mean, I do things that do the work. I work digital, Procreate and Adobe Creative Suites, and so having these opportunities where we're actually funding what I consider art versus design is
Mhm.
just so meaningful. And to be able to share um, a bit of culture is so important right now. Lansing, as you know, is when I teach school in the schools, 80 to 90% of the students are either Black or Hispanic. So
Mhm.
I don't think a lot of people realize that we have an extremely diverse community that's really not fully tapped into.
Mhm.
And I think it really puts the Arts Council needs to be aware of just how diverse our community is, and especially in the leadership level, we really need more diverse leadership at the director level, at decision making levels, lead design. These types of things. These are some areas where we could definitely improve in. But I'm very thankful for the opportunities.
Mhm. Mhm. Teresa, is there anything else you'd like to share with fellow artists about the work you're doing in the community or ways that you all can support and connect with each other?
Well, I do believe there are probably about three things that could be done, and we have, of course, we have this really extremely diverse community, and I believe only about 50% of it is fully engaged. We Everett has. A visual arts media focus at their school. So a lot of people in the community that are Black or Hispanic have an arts background, and they are trained and they are available to work. They are a skilled force, but they're really going to show their strength through expressing their culture. And we think of communities like Atlanta or Chicago or New Orleans. They really tap into their culture, their of their communities. And I think that's how Lansing itself is really going to grow, is to really tap into these cultures and these events be led by people from these cultures. I think
Mhm.
that has definitely a strong impact. But even for like a BIPOC artist, like how do you make it in Lansing? I know a lot of artists have left Lansing in my community because of the lack of opportunities, and really nobody really seeking their designs or their skills or including them. The way I thought it is to really nationalize my work, to really find work outside of, I do a lot of commuting between Detroit, Grand Rapids, Chicago, to share my work when I don't have an opportunity here. But it does mean you need to be a bit creative. Also, my art really serves a working class community, and people can't afford those $100 paintings. So how do you make a living when your people you're designing your work for can't afford it? And
Yeah.
that's when things like the Arts Council mural or painting fundings like that really help. Not only, of course, in Lansing, but other communities throughout Michigan. There are all kinds of mural projects you can apply for. But and then the merchandise. I mean, that's kind of a fun way of making sure your art's available for working class people. The bumper stickers, T-shirts, mugs, those types of coffee mugs. Those are types of work, but there's a lot of different opportunities. But I do think really even, I mean, if you look at Lansing, I think about 50% is, if U.S. Census is white, um, 25% is Black, about another 12% Hispanic, 11% multiple ethnicities. I am one of those multiple ethnicities, but I do identify more strongly, of course, with my Puerto Rican ancestry, just
Mhm.
because of how we were raised, and the continual support we had and visits we had with our abuela. But even the leaders in Lansing, they could, really look for, let's say they need somebody to design something. Well, find an artist, of a BIPOC artist, and
Mhm.
but include them on the decision making. And you need a director. Well, we have a lot of people that are skilled and talented that can't find work here. They have masters, they have PhDs. Our dear friend Rosa Killops was able to make a lot of contributions, and unfortunately she passed away, but she was basically my right arm at the gallery, really here, hosting workshops with me, and doing a lot of cultural events. And of course, Dia de los Muertos, we collaborated on that many years. But these are all just important things to really propel, I believe, our community from kind of a half functioning community to a fully functioning community that celebrates our culture and heritage.
I appreciate you sharing that, because I think there are a lot of folks who don't know what they don't know, and when their eyes are opened to ways that they can start helping and start engaging, it's always that threshold issue, right? Until you can get them across the threshold and see the thing, or engage with the experience, or see the art, or whatever it is. Sometimes they just don't even know what they're missing. So what you're describing, I think is a really great in for a lot of people. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah, I think if anybody has been to a larger city like Atlanta or New Orleans or even Chicago, you can see these beautiful festivals. And no, you don't have to be of that culture, that heritage, but you can
Right.
enjoy it. And you can have a taco fest, but that taco fest can be led by the people of color of the community. It can be organized by that. It can be, and it will be different than a taco fest organized by an Anglo person.
That's right.
It'll be way different. It'll be better because there will be so many cultural points that they just naturally have on the agenda that would make it more fitting.
Yeah, yeah. Theresa, where can people find you online?
Right now, we're because of the DEI / cultural issues we're having with various socials, we're gravitating a bit away from the meta. So predominantly, we used to be Facebook, which I still put things up there, such as events, because we still don't have a really good home for what we do. We are developing a website that'll still be probably another month before we launch that fully. When that's launched, it will be casaderosado.org. Or
Hmm.
it's not, we have a test thing going up, but it's not official. But YouTube has been one of the bigger, one of the places we can post more text and videos and photos. And then, of course, Blue Sky. And then for my artwork, too, I'm on YouTube, and I'm also on Blue Sky. But no, we do invite people to come attend our events. We have a lot of fun things planned. We used to host Fiesta Monarca. I'm not sure if we will get funding. All of our events, we don't host an event if we can't pay for ballet folkloric dancers. A lot of times people will just invite them but don't pay them. But we understand that these performances and the costumery that they wear for each dance and they perform multiple dances is expensive. So we do like to when we do raise funds and we do get grants and sponsorships, we use that money for that. I don't get a paycheck right now. We've never had operation funding, which I find really difficult. I'd hoped this year would be different, but it's not looking terribly hopeful for that. But we are we still want to make things available. So yes, come this weekend. There will be painting available on Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m. Drop on in, and we have one of the most gorgeous fireplaces in town. Our house was built by George Thomas, the chief engineer of the Duplex Truck Company, and it was basically his showcase house. And the whole lower level is all gift shops or workshop areas and exhibits too. But everybody's welcome. There is no restriction on, oh, you must be Hispanic to do this. No, anybody that just wants to learn or enjoy painting or creating can come.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Theresa. I enjoyed hearing your story, and I hope that you've opened up Casa de Rosado to a larger audience with this conversation.
Thank you, Robin. I so appreciate the time that you have given us.
Well, it's been our pleasure. This podcast has been a production of the Arts Council of Greater Lansing. To learn more about them, go to lansingarts.org.
Bye bye.